So we have our project initialized here on Firebase. The first feature we'd like to use is a real-time database. So let's click on database first of all. And right here when it loads, it's going to give us two different options. We have the real-time database over here, which is the older stable database, or we can use this new version called Firestore. Now this is in beta at the minute, but it is quite stable and I much prefer Firestore. I think it has a much more logical approach to storing and retrieving data than the old version does. So we'll use this Firestore to store our data in. So let's click get started right here. And what we'll do is start in test mode, which basically means that we can access it from our application over here without doing any rules. Now, it also means that other people can access our data as well. But as long as you don't give your Firebase details out to anyone, you should be safe. And later on, at the end of the whole course, we'll look at different security rules for Firebase to lock them down so that nobody random can access your database. So anyway, we'll start in test mode, press enable, and that's going to set up the security rules for us, the basic ones, so that we can access it outside in our project. So once that's done, it's going to load up this thing for you right here, which is your database. This is Firestore. So let's start to create some data. Okay, so on the left over here is where we store our collections. Now, each collection would refer to a different data model. For example, we could have a collection called Smoothies, and that would store all of our different smoothie records. We could have another collection called Users that would store all of our user records, or another collection for comments, etc. But we wouldn't jumble all of these data types into one single collection. That makes no sense. We'd separate them into different collections to keep the data clean and manageable. So let's create a collection first of all. The collection name will be Smoothies, like so. And we don't need a capital at the start, so let's just do lowercase s. Press next, and now it's asking us for the first document or record inside this collection. Now the first field is the document ID right here. Now we can enter in our own ID for this record, but we don't need to. If we leave it blank, then Firebase automatically creates an ID for us. That will do for us. Then we have to define the different fields for our document and the values of those fields. In our case, each smoothie, each document will have a title, a list of ingredients, and a slug. So let's add those in. First of all, the title. So we say title for the property name, the field name, and the value is going to be of type string, and in this case, we'll call it Ninja Brew. Okay, add a field. The next one is going to be a slug. And remember, a slug is the URL friendly version of the title. So that will be ninja-brew. That's also a string. Finally, we need the ingredients, and that will be an array. So we'll choose array right there. And we can choose how many different items in this array we want by adding extra fields. Each item is going to be a string. So the first item will be banana. Then we'll add another. The second item will be coffee. Add another. And the third item will be milk. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Again, we don't need to define an ID because Firebase is automatically going to generate that document ID for us. So now we can click save, and we should see in a minute that collection come up here on the left, and also inside the Smoothies collection we can see we now have a document right there, a record. Now this thing right here, this random string of letters, is the ID that Google Firebase has provided for us. It's auto-generated that. And if we click on it, we can see this document over here. We have the ingredients, the slug, and the title. So it's storing that document inside this Smoothies collection. So let's now add a new document. We can do that by going here. And this is, again, going to have an auto-generated ID. The title of this one will be a string and called Morning Mood. Add a field, the slug. That will be called morning-mood. Add a field for the ingredients, which will be an array. And the first item in that array will be mango. The second one will be a lime. And the third one will be some juice. Okay, so let's create that one as well. Now we can see this additional document. So we have two now, and we can switch between the two by clicking on them. Okay. If we wanted to delete a document, we can come to the document panel over here, click on this icon at the top right and delete the document. Likewise, if we want to delete a collection, we can click on the collection like so, come to this icon and delete all documents inside that collection. Okay, so that's our data added to Google Firestore. This is the visual representation of it, and we can search through our different documents as they get added or deleted. So now we have a little bit of data stored inside this Firestore database. What we'll do in the next video is hook up Firebase into our View application so that we can then go about retrieving this information and showing it in the browser.